This could truly, truly be the end of America as we know it. In today's video, I'm going to show you the radical polarization between left and right. They're going after the SEC. The presidential election coming up is going to cause the largest divide we've ever seen in America. As we're at 120% debt to income ratio in America, we have to borrow from other countries to pay for critical services. The middle class needs to make about 150 to 160,000 a year just to be middle class. Rent has got up over 20%, cumulative inflation of almost 19% since 2020. America, it's time to wake up. Now, there is a silver lining to this. During moments and times like this, there's shift in technology, innovation, financial systems, and ecosystems. And if you invest properly in these times, the most millionaires are made in times of desperation. Now, I hate to say that. It's a wave of energy that's happened in history over and over again. So it's time for all of us to get our shit together. My name is Coach JB. What I work to do is make very complex macro and microeconomic strategies very simple so the normal everyday person can implement them. I have amazing free resources for you to support you. So I talk a lot about how I ensure my wealth during these volatile times. As I pull from the left side of the risk pyramid, cryptocurrency, high profit, high return, high speculation, I pull it down the risk pyramid to tier one capital. I ensure my wealth. I use insurance to insure my family and my wealth. So down below, you can set up a free consultation with my licensed insurance team, or click my social media platform bio and you can set up a free consultation. That is completely separate from my 3T Warrior Academy. It's an education academy, and you can download my free PDF book down below, and it shows you exactly what I do on the back end of every video. So let's dive right into this, okay? So I'm going to show you the polarization of the switch or the separation between left and right. Okay, so the House Republicans held their weekly press hearing. They talk about Gary Gensler and the cryptocurrency industry. I'm going to show you how Tom Emmer is breaking down. I mean, this shit's getting wild, guys. They're talking, Tom Emmer's going after the SEC. We're going to show how Gary Gensler still can't answer if Ethereum's a security. And Maxine Water thinks that Trump supporters are up in the hills getting ready for war. I mean, this is wild, guys. This is America. This is what other countries are watching us completely unravel at the seams. Listen to this.
Good morning, everyone. Under the failed far-left Democrat leadership of Joe Biden, our country is unrecognizable and the American people know it. Once acclaimed colleges and universities have turned into chaos, fallen to brainwashed anti-Semitic groupthink, canceling commencements. Instead of protecting Jewish students, Joe Biden has pandered to the pro-Hamas wing of the Democrat Party. And campus leadership has shamefully followed suit, negotiating with these pro-Hamas terrorists and submitting to their demands, following Joe Biden's pattern of appeasement. These apologists for the anti-Semitic mob have turned the Democrat Party into the party of pro-Hamas, a party that defends calls for death to America heard across American campuses. As we laid out last week, House Republicans, under the leadership of Speaker Mike Johnson, are taking action. As part of this conference-wide investigation, we have two major hearings this week. The Oversight Committee is bringing Mayor Bowser and DC Chief of Police before Congress for answers regarding the anti-Semitic mob at GW's campus, and the Education and Workforce Committee will address anti-Semitism in K-12 schools. These schools must be held accountable. House Republicans will use every tool available to end this scourge of anti-Semitism that is destroying American education. Shifting to the House floor this week, House Republicans are continuing to lead and deliver for the American people, bringing legislation which protects America's consumers' rights from their right to choose their home appliances to combating the SEC's burdensome regulations on crypto. We are joined today.
So they're combating the SEC's burden regulations on crypto. Now it continues on. So let's listen to Tom Emmer talking about the SEC's statutory mission to protect investors, facilitate capital formation, and maintain fair, overly inefficient markets. Listen to this.
Chairman Gary Gensler's tenure at the SEC has been characterized by regulatory hypocrisy, inconsistency, and incompetence. The Securities and Exchange Commission's Staff Accounting Bulletin 121, commonly known as SAB 121, is just one example of Chair Gensler's egregious attempts to expand the SEC's authority and his clear bias toward the digital asset ecosystem. More than 2 years ago, the SEC disguised this illegal rule as guidance, circumventing Congress and public input so they could prevent banks from safeguarding consumer-owned digital assets.
This is the SEC that's supposed to be protecting you as an investor.
However, this rule isn't just overreaching and illegal. It violates the SEC's statutory mission. First, SAB 121 introduces more unnecessary and avoidable concentration risk into the digital asset ecosystem, making our markets less fair, less orderly, and less efficient. Second, it weakens investor protections by barring Americans from using the established banking infrastructure to custody their digital assets, which leaves Americans' assets more vulnerable if a custodian becomes insolvent. And third, this rule hampers capital formation and global competitiveness, as foreign banks already have the ability to compete in crypto markets while our banks cannot.
Boom. It's getting wild, guys. It's getting deeper and deeper. And then you have the head of the SEC sitting here on CNBC. He won't answer the question, guys. It was seen in court documents that he said that Ethereum was a security, but in front of the House, he won't answer the questions. And this was just on CNBC. Check this out.
The big question in crypto land right now, is Ethereum a commodity or is Ethereum a security? And therefore, will there one day be an ETF? That's the fundamental question on the table in crypto land. You agree?
Oh, you're the one that's out there asking the questions. All I would say is, to me, the fundamental question is how do we ensure that the American investor is protected? And right now, they're not getting the required or needed disclosures. And the intermediaries in the center of this rather centralized market generally are conflicted and doing things we would never allow the New York Stock Exchange to do. The New York Stock Exchange is not allowed to trade against the investors.
Okay, but let me ask you about this. You've seen the consensus lawsuit, and I know you have a Wells notice with them as well. This is Patrick Henry saying the following, and I want you to respond to it. Just months after a federal judge sanctioned SEC enforcement lawyers for lying in court, new evidence shows that Chair Gary Gensler himself misled Congress. The testimony to the Financial Services Committee last April, Chair Gensler refused to answer questions about the SEC's classification of Ether, and new court filings show this was an intentional attempt to misrepresent the commission's position.
We speak to Congress directly in hearings like that and also directly to members, and we share with them accurately what we're doing so that the viewers can also understand we don't speak about whether we have an investigation or whether we don't have an investigation, and we don't speak about whether somebody is, in our opinion, not following the law unless we actually bring a case. So we stay quiet on many questions that you might ask at this live interview or even
but ultimately, should investors,
a congressional hearing.
There's a lot of folks who bought Ethereum expecting that one day there will be potentially an ETF and that it will be considered a genuine security that's tradable on these exchanges. Will that happen?
Again, that's something in front of our commission right now. We're a 5-member commission.
He will never answer the questions, guys. I mean, they're just going to gaslight us over and over again. And now here's where it comes. So the left is going against the right? But listen to Maxine Waters. This is divisive stuff here, guys. This is extremely divisive stuff. Listen. Oh, my apologies. Hold on a second. There we go.
Who we better be careful about. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the Justice Department and I'm going to ask the president to tell us what they're going to do to protect this country against violence if he loses. I want to know about all of those right-wing organizations that he's connected with who are training up in the hills somewhere and targeting, what communities they're going to attack.
I mean, that's crazy, guys. I mean, to me, that's completely irrational. Like, you really believe, Maxine, that there's people training up in the hills to come down and attack people? Like, you really believe that? I mean, honestly, look what's happening on the campuses right now. This is the most divisive moment we've ever experienced in America in our living history. And I'll tell you what, I have no enemy. I follow what Jesus says. I take the middle ground. God is my president and CEO. I'm Jesus's running mate. I'm taking the middle ground on this. I'm protecting my family, my ecosystem, and I'm making sure that my family doesn't get wiped out. I'm making sure that I make the proper investments, that I'm diligent with my money, that I understand financial literacy, financial discipline. And I understand that this is the greatest time in human history to switch my family's timeline. I'm not going to fight back and forth, and I'm not going to argue back and forth on my opinion. My opinion doesn't matter in this. What matters is your decisions, your actions, your behaviors done for a long enough period of time to access the new level of frequency to transform your family's current paradigm. As Jesus said to the guy with the mat, pick up your mat and walk. That's what they don't want you to do. They want you to think there's people up in the hills training to come down to cause chaos. The chaos is already here. The separation is already here. America is bankrupt. Think about that for just a moment. I love America. I'm proud to be an American. I served my country in America. And I'm also proud to be a human. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud to know your family. It's time for us to drop the separation and come together as one conscious to expand this place and not repeat consciousness. God gave us the ability to walk, to talk, to think, and most of all, to control our emotions. And Jesus said the devil's the prince of the earth. To be in the world, but not of the world. And to transcend out of this world is through your heart and up into peace, into love, into authenticity, unconditional love, and gratitude. So if you need support, I have tons of free support within my bio here and on social. Start getting emotional. And down below in the description, if you guys want to know exactly what I'm doing, I pull from the left side of the risk pyramid, high risk, high return. Cryptocurrency, very risky, no regulation. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's a shit show. You guys, I just showed you it's an absolute shit show, right? So we don't know what's going to happen, how egregious it's going to get, but we do know there's a huge bull run coming. And what I did from 2020 to 2022 is I pulled profits out of that bull run and I insured my wealth. I use Index Universal Life. That's what I use. It's worked for me and my family very, very well. There's other types of insurance that you can use to use cash value, things like that. So that's what I do. I'm investing more in real estate. I'm going to invest more in companies to create cash flow, and I'm going to repeat this process over and over again. So I didn't sit back and wait for a savior to come. I activated. I lost everything in 2020. I admit that. I tell my story over and over again, but I finally drew a line in the sand, became more committed to the pain of change and staying the same, and I rewired my brain to end up in a different situation. I understood how money moves through the system and how jacked up the system is. And I understood that Wall Street wins 100% of the time. And so I understood the patterns that they use. I understood that we're the exit liquidity, and I no longer made sure that my family's the exit liquidity. I made sure that my family has the liquidity and that we could support our ecosystem, our family, our women, and our ecosystem, and make sure that everybody is safe and taken care of. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go.